Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, KHALID. But a happy new year for all of those who are celebrating. And of course, we wish that this new year brings a lot of happiness, success and prosperity to you all, including to our country, that is Pakistan. These are the stories that we will be discussing during the course of our show. We will begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the second round of the National Security Committee meeting that was convened today. It has ended a short time back and we are expected to have some kind of a media information as to what happened, what transpired during the second round of the NSC. This concerns the security and the economy. On Friday also they did meet. They talked about all the incidents that have happened in the country and how to counter those with full force and without any distinction. Let's see how all of that goes along. As far as the latest incidents are concerned across Pakistan, we have seen a lot of them last year, and we have seen a concentration of that in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and in Balochistan, and mostly from across the border from our neighborhood country of Afghanistan. How is the NSC going to move forward under these current circumstances? This is going to be our first segment. Our second story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, concerns Pakistan's proactive foreign policy under the current coalition government. We've seen Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab, our foreign minister, who's been to more or less every important nook and corner of the world to discuss Pakistan, to discuss collaboration, cooperation of Pakistan with important countries, and also to highlight Pakistan's position on different important matters, whether it concerns the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, whether it concerns Afghanistan, whether it concerns its relationship with India and the Indian hegemonic designs against Pakistan. The Pakistani Foreign Office has been quite active in the last few months since the coalition government came into power. We're going to talk about this in the context of the foreign minister, who on Sunday has said that the government was making efforts to broaden Pakistan's ties with the friendly countries and also forging relations with other states for the benefit of the people of the country. How important is all of this under the current scenario, under the current geostrategic, political environment? This is going to be our second story. And our third story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns polio and polio eradication. The Minister for National Health Services and Regulation, Abdul Qadir Patel, says the eradication of polio from Pakistan is the government's top priority, and we are committed to facilitate polio workers to achieve this goal. It's very important because as we speak, only Pakistan and Afghanistan remain the two countries where polio is prevalent. And we've seen a slight spike in the number of cases of polio. Nevertheless, the United Nations organizations like UNICEF are quite optimistic as far as the eradication of polio is concerned. So are the other important organizations. So is the Pakistani government. So let's hope in that vein. This is going to be our last story. Let's begin with our first segment, and that concerns Pakistan's security policy. The second round of the National Security Committee meeting that was convened today, and that discussed important matters concerning the economy and security. How is that going to bode along as far as Pakistan's future, its relations with its neighbors who are trying to create havoc in Pakistan is concerned, as well as Pakistan's internal security situation? More in the following report.
Pakistan has seen a spate of terror attacks in recent months, which necessitated collective resolve and comprehensive strategy to combat the scourge of militancy. A meeting of National Security Committee, the principal decision-making forum on foreign policy and national security, was chaired by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. National Security Committee deliberated on the proposals shared in its last meeting and gave approval to a guideline on economic and national security. The meeting also granted approval of decisive action against terrorists and reaffirmed the resolve to take Pakistan towards economic and political stability. In previous NSC meeting, it was decided to turn up the heat on militancy with relentless counter and preemptory measures to neutralize the threats present in the country in any form. In a statement, the Prime Minister's office said the participants of NSC meeting unequivocally resolved that Pakistan's national interests would not be compromised and no one would be allowed to undermine national security. Pakistan's security forces and civil military leadership are determined to eliminate the menace of terrorism, and heroic sacrifices of brave soldiers have further strengthened resolve of the nation. The efforts of security forces as well as the whole nation will continue till the elimination of terrorism from the country.
to discuss more on the whole aspect of security of Pakistan in the regional scenario, national and international scenario, and of course regarding our neighbors, that's India and Afghanistan. We've been joined by Sangeen Khan. He's an analyst. Sangeen, thank you very much to have joined us. Sangeen, first of all, welcome to the studios. This is the first time that you're coming to our studios. We've seen you a lot on Skype, so it's always a pleasure to have you here in the studios. First of all, this is the second round of the meeting of the NSC. How important is convening all the stakeholders under the current circumstances that plague Pakistan?
First of all, thank you very much. Good to see you right here. Basically, it's very much important because it speaks volume that civil and military leadership stand on one point, they are on one page. And it shows one thing, that there is a general understanding, consensus from the society. There's clarity on that there is zero space, zero tolerance when it comes to terrorism. That's why it's very unusual that second round have been convened by both civil and military. Now they want to exchange their views as to what would be the future course outline. So it is very important given the recent upstick of terrorist activities, because if we look back in 2014, after the military carried out very successive operation JAHANZEB, and till then till 2020 Radul Fasad along with the National Action Plan, it was very effective. We saw from 2014 till 2020 there was very calm peace in the country, but now we have to understand the regional context, and that is Afghanistan. We do know that situation in Afghanistan is very fragile, very volatile, is not peaceful.
But why a trickle-down effect from Afghanistan into Pakistan, when Pakistan has been the country that has always stood for its neighborhood country, that is Afghanistan, whether it be in the form of all the people that have here, the millions of people that we have taken under our umbrella, or the different ways in which Pakistan has highlighted the Afghan issue across the board?
It is very much important. We need to understand that Pakistan, not out Pakistan, and even China, they both have been well-wishers of the Afghan Taliban. Pakistan did its efforts internationally that Afghan Taliban, they are a political entity. The people need to be supported. Humanitarian Pakistan even convened two important international meetings in order to support them financially. But unfortunately, some soldiers on foot and some Afghan commanders, they are a kind of disagreement within their own commanders, that because they are having not good views about Pakistan. So I think they need to understand, because as per the Doha agreement, Afghan Taliban were bound that they would not allow their land, soil to be used against any country, specifically Pakistan.
But you remember, Sangeen, Mr. Muttaqi, who is the interim foreign minister of Afghanistan, had said right at the very onset when the government came into power that he will not allow any element to go against any neighborhood country. But what we've seen in the last few months negates all of that, doesn't it?
This is the irony is that there is a dichotomy in statements. What the Afghan Taliban has been saying to Pakistan bilaterally and even to international community, that their land would not be used against any country, specifically to Pakistan. Even they gave assurances. But in the recent past, it offers very grim picture, because we see the situation in Chaman border. Because since I am from Balochistan, I can tell you from from the people, it's not very positive developments. Especially if we see the recent developments in terrorist activities in former FATA, that speaks volume that owing to the situation in Afghanistan, we have the blowback. I think what is really needed, Pakistan need to engage with Afghan Taliban bilaterally, because we have been in talks with the TTP that was bound to fail at the very beginning.
Our Minister for State for Foreign Affairs, Hina Rahmani Kharsaba, was in Afghanistan just a few days back, and she had a detailed discussion on all the different elements, including the security elements that plague Pakistan. It's not as if Pakistan is not talking with Afghanistan, but we don't see the reaction that should have emanated from the Afghan government, from the Afghan leadership, as far as securing Pakistan and the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan is concerned. Why is that?
It's a very important question. I think if you see the recent National Security Committee meeting, they said these all terrorists, no matter what connotations they are attached, they are the enemies of Pakistan. I went to yesterday's there was a statement of Interior Minister very categorically that Afghan soil has been used against Pakistan. Very important stakeholders statements are coming out from Pakistan. Yes, very important. Hina Rahmani Kharsaba, engaged, held one-on-one meetings with the Afghan counterparts. They have been conveying it very frequently that your land is being used. I think it's high time that both civil and military leadership, they need to re-strategize their Afghan policy.
Along, when you talk of re-strategizing Afghan policy, does that include another full-blown military operation to restore order? We've seen that whenever such a situation has emanated, our armed forces have come together and have thwarted all such elements through important operations as Zarb-e-Azab, as Raddul Fasad. Do you feel another operation is necessary under the current circumstances?
Absolutely, I agree with you on this point. As you know, I've been saying there is requirement of two-pronged strategy. One, that is kinetic operation, the other is non-kinetic. When it comes to kinetic means, yes, zero space, because there has been clarity of both civil and military leadership. There is zero space, no tolerance for any terrorist organization. In order to eradicate, wipe out, there is a need of the kinetic operation in Balochistan, far-flung, I mean those ungoverned, the disturbed areas, in wherever it is. I think there is need of cleansing operation in order to wipe them out. Second, along with the kinetic operation, there is a need of non-kinetic means, that is soft development approach. By that I means, yes, it is responsibility of the government, responsibility of the state to engage the reconcilable elements, engage them, improve the infrastructure wherever they are, especially far-flung areas of Balochistan that merits immediate attention. Improve the education, it's very much important, and besides education, there is a need of expansion of social justice.
You talk of improving education and improving the social justice system. We've seen how they have denied education to the Afghan women, and how they are moving ahead to even not to give the necessary place to women in the NGOs, in the important government organizations. Under the current circumstances, how can Pakistan talk with Afghanistan on these matters that you've just talked on the non-kinetic front? On the kinetic front, I'll come a bit later, but on the non-kinetic front, what are the different methodologies that Pakistan needs to put into place as far as making Afghanistan understand?
Well, first of all, the points I was sharing about kinetic, non-kinetic, that is equally applicable to Pakistan. Yes, what Pakistan can do, Pakistan has been, very sincerely, Pakistan has been the well-wisher of the Afghan Taliban, Afghan people. We have been hosting over 3 million people.
Of course.
Providing education officially, let alone the rest of the non-official Afghan citizens. We regard them as our brotherly, we have got, they are studying in different colleges, universities in Quetta, wherever you find it. We are the well-wishers of the Afghan Taliban. Pakistan has been telling them for their own interest that allow them, women to get education, because these are the rights, these are the universally accepted rights.
Of course.
You cannot deny them, since your own religion allows it to give education to both male and female.
That is why I ask you, what are the methodologies that our government needs to put into place?
Yeah, government of Pakistan has done a lot. Even they engaged, they dispatched very important delegation of scholars to Afghanistan in order to engage them, influence them. Unfortunately, that failed. Similarly, we tried to organize Jargah with them, that failed. I think it's high time Pakistan engage with the Afghan leadership bilaterally, let alone because we initiated talks with these terrorist elements, TTP, that were doomed to fail in the very beginning. I think we gave enough space. It's high time Pakistan re-strategize its Afghan policy, one. Secondly, I think when it comes to Afghan discussion of Afghan policy, it needs to be discussed in the parliament as well, as to what are the strategic direction when it comes to Afghanistan, because Pakistan has suffered a lot due to Afghanistan.
There are tens of thousands of people who've lost their lives from the armed forces, from the civilians, and we have laid down our lives for our motherland, and this is not a joke for the world, and the world needs to understand that as well, and the world needs to stand by Pakistan's side. I think it's extremely important, which brings me to the National Action Plan and NACTA and the strengthening of NACTA. How important is this? Do you feel there needs to be some changes brought about in the National Action Plan and strengthen NACTA further?
I'm of the view, I'm convinced, whatever policies were, enacted, raised back in the past, they were best of the best, error-free. But where issue lies, the issue lies in the implementation phase.
Okay.
Yes, no doubt, when it comes to National Counter-Terrorism Authority, NACTA, for that matter, along with the Operation Zarb-e-Azab, Operation Raddul Fasad, they were very important, instrumental for the purpose of eradicating terrorism from Balochistan, from for rest of the country. The issue lies in implementation of the action, and issue lies in the lack of consistency. Yes, alhamdulillah, from 2014 till 2020, absolutely. Credit goes to all security agencies. They led their lives due to their important lives. We are enjoying peace. But
thanks to them.
Thanks to armed forces, security agencies, intelligence, personnel. Due to them, we enjoyed a lot.
Agreed.
But once again, I would re-emphasize on the fact there is a need of implementation of the policies and need to be coordination between all stakeholders. I think it is a national issue. It is a national issue. We need to prioritize our national interest on the top, let alone keep aside your political discussion aside. It's a matter of national security. I will take you back to the 2014, what's a tragedy took happen, APS, where all opposition, government, they came on one table.
And you know who was behind it as well.
Yeah, we do know from where it was signaling. Allow me to make this point. Pakistan, especially Balochistan and former FATA, it is an international proxy is being carried out. We do know our neighboring countries, they are supporting these terrorist elements using Afghan land. So I would re-emphasize on the fact Pakistan need to recalibrate its Afghan policy and engage one-on-one with the Afghan government in order to root out terrorist activities. And in contrast, on the other hand, I would say when it comes to internal environment, because we need to improve our economy, very much important, because
they are more or less interlinked, aren't they?
Interlinked. Yeah, when you talk about the comprehensive security, 5 sectoral of security, you cannot differentiate each element from the other one. These are interrelated, since our economy is dependent on the foreign loans. So what you do, you go to IMF, you ask loans for the World Bank.
And also, if you have a secure country where there's no terrorism threat, this is when the multinationals will come in. This is when the other countries will pour in money, not only just as aid, but also to have different maneuvers or different kind of organizations working in Pakistan together. This collaboration on the economic front can only happen in the right vein if our country is secure from any such element. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. It is important, because we see if there is a secure political environment, tourists will be attracted. True. There will be a rise in your revenues. Much more to that, if you have the
stable environment,
because it will reflect a very positive image of Pakistan across the world. True. So I think we need to improve at societal level, improve the societal level, improve the education, improve the infrastructure, so that end of the day, if you have a proper political environment, it will lead to a very comprehensive security.
But Sangeet, when you talk of political environment, we all know that the current political environment, especially in the wake of the opposition that is not cooperating with the government as it should, is leading to a whole array of problems internally for our country. And I hope the opposition understands that, because under the current circumstances, all stakeholders, as you yourself said, need to be on the same page in order to take the country out of the current situation. Now, on Friday, the meeting of the NSC which was held, it decided to have counter and preemptive measures to neutralize all threats present in the country in any form. Do you feel that we are going towards a broad-based single national narrative to fight terrorism in all forms and manifestations?
Absolutely. As I discussed, it is very unusual that it has been a second, convening of the national security meeting. It reflects there is a seriousness at both civilian and military leadership. They just want to exchange views as what would the future outlines. Yes, they are very categorically set. Terrorists are the enemies of Pakistan. So this important statement speaks volume. They are on one page. There's a clarity, zero tolerance for these terrorist organizations. Be it these are the BLA, BLF, TTP, whatever is it. ISK, message is clear. State remains prepared, and I hope down the line in a few weeks there will be you will find the manifestation in practical forms. Because there is already sanitization operations, intelligence-based operations. It really hurts me. It gives me pain when I hear our own soldiers, day in, day out, they are being martyred for the state, for our motherland. Because since I'm from Balochistan, I feel it. Recently, many captain was martyred in former FATA area.
And there is a list of all such incidents that has happened in the last few months in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Balochistan. Let's hope that our NSC comes up with strong strategies in order to thwart all such elements. We have waged two very important wars in the past, and we have, eliminated all such elements. And I think, inshallah ta'ala, we will eliminate them once again. Thank you very much, Sangeet Khan Saab, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this whole security parameters under which Pakistan needs to move forward in order to become more stable and also to become economically more reliable and stable as well, for the international body to come in and invest in Pakistan. Thank you very much, Sangeet, to have joined us. Our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, concerns our foreign policy. Now, our foreign policy is broad-based. It is based on strong relationships with all important stakeholders, and this is what the current coalition government of the PDM is doing. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab, our foreign minister, has been to every important area in the world to discuss Pakistan's point of view, to discuss Pakistan, to strengthen Pakistan's point of view on different important topics, whether it concerns the regional scenario, the internal scenario, or the international scenario. Our foreign minister has very recently also said that the government was making efforts to not only broaden Pakistan ties with all the important countries of the world, but also forging relations with other states for the benefit of the people of the country. How important is this? More in the following report.
Foreign policy is serious business and rightly described as a country's first line of defense. Policy formulation and policy articulation both require careful thought and judgment. Under the incumbent PDM government, balanced and broad-based engagement with multilateral global institutions has always remained significant. Elucidating this vision, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari emphasized that coalition government was making efforts to broaden Pakistan's ties with friendly countries. In a video message, Foreign Minister said that the government has focused to enhance its relationship with the old friends and forge new ties with others. The Prime Minister had undertaken different foreign visits to increase the country's outreach in the world. Pakistan chaired the G77 and succeeded in the inclusion of Loss and Damage Fund in the COP27 agenda for the developing countries. Pakistan successfully met the action plans of Financial Action Task Force ahead of time and had been the only country to be removed from its grey list. In the year 2023, coalition government aims to improve bilateral and multilateral ties at all regional and global fora and would pursue the agenda of economic diplomacy. Pakistan, as a responsible global actor, has always enshrined some noble principles in its foreign policy toolkit, such as peace, regional equilibrium, strategic balance, shared prosperity, and win-win partnerships.
Now, as was detailed in the report that you've just watched, Pakistan's foreign policy is robust. Pakistan's foreign policy is multi-pronged. What Pakistan wants on the foreign policy agenda is to have strong relationships with all the important stakeholders, whether it be the United States of America, whether it be China, and whether it be other important countries that can help Pakistan, that can cooperate with Pakistan and invest in Pakistan, make Pakistan economically stable. And Pakistan believes in an export-based economy. So all those countries are welcome who can also strengthen Pakistan in that domain. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is also a very strong aspect as far as that is concerned, and with more and more countries that are evincing interest in this mega project, this also needs to be highlighted on the different important arenas, and that is what our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab has said. At the same time, our relationship with the Middle East, our relationship with Saudi Arabia, our relationship with all the important other countries in the region has also been extremely important. Our relationship with Afghanistan also is something that Pakistan has worked very efficiently towards, despite the fact that we haven't had the same kind of response as we should have had, especially on the security front. Pakistan still continues to undergo talks with its Afghan counterparts. As far as India is also concerned, Pakistan has tried in the past and also continues to try to find avenues where both countries could work together, but on the condition that all the important topics that are thorny between the two countries be discussed on the table, which includes Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and of course also the plight of Muslims in India. This said, Pakistan has been trying on different arenas to further forge a strong relationship, and our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab has gone to different countries, has gone to different important organizations and their moods, whether it be the, of course, at the G77 where Pakistan chaired it, whether it be COP27 where Pakistan managed, thanks to the efforts of Shahid Rahman Sahib also, for the inclusion of loss and damage fund in the agenda for developing countries. Pakistan has been working diligently on the foreign affairs front. We've been joined by Dr. Munawar Hussain, who's a foreign affairs expert, to talk more about this. Dr. Saab, thank you very much to have joined us, and a happy new year to you and your family. Dr. Saab, let's begin with Pakistan's foreign policy parameters. What, in your point of view, have been the achievements as far as Pakistan's foreign policy is concerned during the year 2022?
Thank you very much for having me in the show. Happy New Year to you and all the viewers. As far as Pakistani foreign policy is concerned, though we believe that the foreign policy is the extension of the domestic political stability, but however, though we faced political instability and economic problems, but even then on foreign policy fronts, we got many successes. And one of them is that we successfully strengthened our relationship with China, which made us able to stood against India to counter its hegemony in the region. We managed our relationship with the United States of America. We developed our more relationship with the European Union, even towards the Muslim world. We chaired the group of 77 successfully. In the COP27, you mentioned in your introduction that in COP27, we successfully included the fund for the developing nations. These are the few successes that we got through our foreign policy.
All right, Dr. Saab, whether it be Pakistan's important achievements in 2022 or the challenges that Pakistan is confronted with on the different fronts, in the regional front, on the international front, how important has been Pakistan's efforts in order to not only apprise the world body of the challenges that it is confronted with, but also the requirement by the important world leaders to put pressure on such elements that are trying to destabilize Pakistan regionally?
Can you repeat your question?
I said, well, I wanted to understand a little bit as far as the challenges that Pakistan's foreign policy is confronted with, and how important has been the role of our foreign minister, whether it be the state minister or our foreign minister Bilal Bhutto Zardari Sahab, our prime minister, in order to apprise the important world leaders about their role as far as trying to put pressure on all such elements that are trying to destabilize Pakistan regionally.
Look, there are several challenges to Pakistani foreign policy and the state of Pakistan. One is, for instance, there is a change at an international level. How we are going to cope up with this change and facing the new reality, which is the emerging centers of power. Secondly, you see that Pakistan economy is depending on the loans, how to get rid of it and to promote our trade in the world. Third, to bring stability in the region, especially in the case of Afghanistan, because the TTP element, which is very much involved in instability in Pakistan, their activities, which is disturbing us, and which in fact affecting very badly our society and our economy as well. Moreover, to convince the developed nations how their economic and industrial development is bringing change in the climate, which is very much affecting the developing nations like Pakistan. Recently, we experienced the flood. So these are, I believe, the challenges which we have to cope up with it. And moreover, I believe that how Pakistan is creating a balancing act between especially the two powers like the rising China and the United States of America. And moreover, I believe that how Pakistan is successfully convincing the regional countries that to bring stability in Afghanistan is in favor of all. And moreover, how Pakistan is able to deal with the Afghan situation, which is very much linked with the situation with Pakistan, and any instability in Afghanistan has domino effect on the society, economy, and polity of Pakistan. So these
Dr.
are the
Saab, it's very
challenges
interesting
how
that you
Pakistan.
mentioned economy, because I'd like to understand how important is an effective economic diplomacy for a country like Pakistan, and how has Pakistan tried to implement that policy across the board with different countries, with different stakeholders across the world, and how do you feel that can alter the economic future of Pakistan? Because you yourself have just mentioned the challenges that we are confronted with, including the floods and the havoc that it has wreaked on the millions of people in Pakistan.
I think through we made a policy, and this policy was being made. It was started during 2014, I think, during the Nawaz Sharif regime, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif regime, and it was concluded in 2020. And we decided that we would move from geostrategy to geoeconomics. I mean, that is the solution. We have to promote our economic diplomacy. We have to promote trade. We have to get rid of our dependency on international lending agencies. And for that, we have to develop export-oriented economy. We have to develop our human capital, skilled human capital. And for this, we need to bring socio-economic reforms at domestic level and make our economy and society utility for the major powers, including the United States of America and China. And we can have a diplomacy with US and China, and in order to get their support and to learn from their rich experiences of reforms in their society. I mean, Chinese land reforms are remarkable, and that brought economic boost in China. Similarly, American reform experience from President Jackson up to President Clinton, you see. So they can help us in that. And for that, we have to have a diplomacy, because Pakistani society and Pakistani economy and even Pakistani politics need a dire reform package, because I believe that our society and our polity and our economy is static. It has to be dynamic. So if we are bringing that and we are launching economic diplomacy, because all nations in the world, they are moving towards the geo-economics, including United States of America, China, even Saudi Arabia. I mean, the reforms that they are introducing, the main objective is to bring economic strength in the country, and lowering down their dependency on their oil resources.
Dr.
So I
Saab, Dr.
believe
Saab,
that
I'd like to understand something. You said, as far as Pakistan is concerned, we need to have a dynamic policy, a dynamic, not a static, because you say that the current situation is quite static. The current situation is also quite polarized as far as the society or the politics is concerned in Pakistan, and that has led to a lot of issues on the foreign policy front, especially in our relations with the United States of America, with the previous government trying to dent our relation as much as possible. How can that be mended in your point of view by the current regime?
I mean, they have put all of efforts, especially our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. But one thing that we need to understand it, that yes, I do agree that all political leaders, whether it is a party A or party B, they have to be very conscious regarding giving a statement regarding any country in the world, because it affects our relationship with that country, especially United States of America, because America is the country we have adopted a model of development. America is the country due to which we have modernized military system, our education system, our elites, our urbanized population. I mean, we have stakes in American with American relationship. As far yes, but I would say that uh, changes in American relationship vis-a-vis Pakistan, if we see the pattern in the relationship, we find that whenever there is security interest in the region, America come closer to Pakistan. And whenever these relations are, these interests are got, America leave Pakistan in the quagmire. But now I believe the ambassador David Bloom, I got the information that he is interested to hit the main area due to which we do not have a stable relationship, and that is the socio-economic relationship with Pakistan, how to develop it. And for this, therefore, I say that Pakistan need three-pronged strategy. Pakistan have to have a utilitarian relationship with America. Pakistan have to have socio-economic relationship with China, and not only China, but Brazil and Canada, because they are interested in Pakistani society and economy. and Pakistan has to have a pragmatic relationship with Russia. And I believe one of the very important success of the foreign policy of Pakistan is that we are moving towards development, improving our relationship with Russia, and I believe that in coming years we would have more good economic relationship with Russia as well.
All right, Dr. Saab, you did not mention the European Union. Now, we, because of the European Union, have a very important mechanism in place, and that is the GSP Plus, which is up for renewal in the next couple of months. I think this is what is going to happen in the next couple of months. As far as the GSP Plus is concerned, Pakistan has had a lot of benefits under this current regime of the GSP Plus, and that is up now as far as the renewal process is concerned. How important has the relationship between Pakistan and the European Union been as well, and how can Pakistan move forward in order to further strengthen this this relationship in different forms and dimensions?
Simple answer is socio-economic diplomacy. Pakistan diaspora is there. We have to activate them. Our embassies have to activate them. Number one. Number two, I believe that because of Ukrainian war, European Union is facing economic problem. And the problem of energy, because problem of energy is lowering down the progress of their economy. And because of war in Ukraine, I mean, their image, their economic activities, even the societal cohesiveness is disturbed. So I doubt that European Union would help Pakistan as they helped in the past year.
But you know, the GSP Plus is enough for Pakistani exports, especially in different sectors that Pakistan is exporting. The different benefits that it has gotten under the GSP Plus. Don't you feel continuation of this policy is very important?
You are absolutely right. I mean, they provided a 60%, I think, GST Plus benefit like this. And now we are demanding 80%, something like that. But I believe because of declining economic condition of Europe, because of the war in Ukraine and energy crisis, I think
the priorities of the EU might have changed. This is what you're trying to tell us.
Yeah, exactly. But I believe under the very powerful leadership in the case of our foreign policy in the form of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, I believe that they would be able to continue it. But the major challenge that Pakistani foreign policy would face would be the war situation in Ukraine that is hurting Europeans' economy.
Do you feel Pakistan could play a role as far as bridging ties between these two warring factions and maybe bring them to the negotiating table is concerned? Is that a distant possibility in your point of view through diplomatic means?
Pakistan has a very good history of mediating between 2 or 3 or more nations. We remember in 1970s what we did in the case of US and China. We mediated. Even we helped Iran and Saudi Arab to come on the table, though initially Saudi Arab refused to do this, but later on through Iraq, they did it. They started their negotiation. Pakistan is a country, I believe, that is very significant in terms of not only its US strategic position, but I mean, it can be a bridge between the West and the Muslim world, and it can be a bridge between the West and the East. And now I believe, therefore, Pakistan can mediate between the European Union and Russia because Pakistan has developed a relationship with Russia, and at the same time, we have historical relationship with the West. So I think we can use diplomacy. Even we can use China. We can use Iran, we can use Saudi Arab because they also have a very good relationship with Russia, and we can mediate in that if European Union is agreed. In the past, we did it through shuttle diplomacy. I believe Pakistan can do this, and if Pakistan is helping them to resolve the issue, then I think in exchange they can help Pakistan as far as GST interest is concerned.
Dr. Saab, also you talked about bridging ties between the Muslim and the non-Muslim world. Pakistan has been championing the cause of Muslims across the world on different international fora, whether it be this government, whether it be previous governments as well. They have all tried to, in their different forms and manifestations, highlight Pakistan's positioning as far as the Muslim world is concerned. How important is Pakistan's role amongst the Muslim world, the Muslim countries, and do you feel that Pakistan's role in the future is going to be even more important?
Look, Pakistan is the fifth largest country in the world as far as its Muslim population is concerned, which is very vibrant, very intelligent, and the youth bulk, I think it is more than 63, 64%. So from that very perspective, and it's a nuclear power, it's a modern liberal country. So therefore, I believe it is an important Muslim nation. So from that very perspective, Pakistan not only can play an important role in the Muslim world politics, but at the politics of at international politics as well. And Pakistan in the past played a very significant role in bridging the gap between the West and the Muslim world. We remember that when America started its war against terrorism in Afghanistan in 2001, why they aligned Pakistan with them, one of the very important reasons was by that they could eliminate the impression that it is a war against the Muslim, or it was is a part of the Crusade war. So from that very perspective, I believe that Pakistan is a very significant country, not only from the perspective of the Muslim world, but from the perspective of the international system and the Western world. So I believe that Pakistan retain a specific position where Pakistan enjoys a good relationship with all different groups in the Muslim world and with the Western world as well. Like in the Muslim world, Pakistan has good relationship with Turkey, with Saudi Arabia, with Iran, even with Iraq, you see. And on the other hand side, Pakistan enjoys good relationship with America, with the Western world, and with the China as well. So Pakistan has a unique position and can play a vital role in bringing all these groups closer to each other and to bring
All right, Pakistan,
stability and peace.
of course. That is true, Dr. Saab, and of course, Pakistan has been highlighting different issues that plague the world as well, whether it be climate change through COP. We've seen how in this COP27, Shahid Rahman Sahaba was quite up on, how should I say, upfront as far as different challenges that the world is facing as far as climate change is concerned. And she was one of the leaders that was highlighted during COP27, also for Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab, the way he interacted with different important leaders across the world, whether it be from the American side or the European side or other sides. Also G77, when Pakistan chaired that was also a very important move that where Pakistan highlighted different important challenges that the world is confronted with. 2023 is upon us, Dr. Saab. A lot of challenges we see emanating from Afghanistan, emanating from India, also our own internal challenges that Pakistan is confronted with. What, in your point of view, needs to be Pakistan's foreign policy roadmap in order to withstand all these strong global headwinds in this year and beyond?
Number one, Pakistan has to adopt geo-economic policy because we worked hard on it. I mean, in rhetoric, we say that we are moving from geopolitics to geoeconomics, but in action, we do not do this. And when we are going to have this geoeconomic policy, we can bridge different regions from Southeast Asia to West Asia and South Asia and the Middle East. One. Second, Pakistan has to bring reforms at domestic level, which I mentioned earlier, like the social reforms, the political reforms we needed. Number three, Pakistan have to have three-pronged strategy with all major powers, which I mentioned earlier, like Pakistan continued its policy, its good relationship with the United States of America by having the policy of utilitarianism, number one. Number two, in the case of China, we have to continue our policy with the help of socio-economic diplomacy, and we must not confine up to the China, but at the same time, we have to extend it up to Canada and Brazil because Canada wants to diversify its economy. Brazilians are very much interested in Pakistani university to have exchange program. And we all know that Brazil, they are exporting $10 billion per year meat to the Middle East. And we can do the same. They can take a part in our CPEC project. Similarly, Pakistan have to have a pragmatic policy vis-a-vis Russia. For instance, if they are ready to give us discounted 30% oil and gas, we have to have this. Similarly, Russians, they have defense technology. When we are developing our relationship with Russia, I believe that we can neutralize them because they are involved in modernizing Indian military, especially their tank battalions, their nuclear submarines, S-500 missile systems, Su-30, their jet fighters, uh, we can neutralize it. So, and we have to have a relationship with all peripheral nations, the developing nations,
That
because
is
South
very
Africa.
important, Dr. Saab, and I think the way you've narrated Pakistan's foreign policy objectives in the coming years, that is very important, and that needs to be multi-pronged, and you, as you yourself have enunciated. And I think it's important to have strong relations with all the important stakeholders across the board, and have and take out all the opportunities that Pakistan can get in order to further forge a strong relationship, not only on the political side, but also on the economic side. As you yourself said, Pakistan is moving towards new economy. So in order to make Pakistan economically stable, economically viable, we need to have more strong and viable economic relationships with all the countries concerned. Let's hope this year brings many such good news to us from different arenas across the world. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. That was, of course, Dr. Munawar, a foreign policy expert, talking to us about Pakistan's foreign policy objectives in the wake of what Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab said while he was wishing people a happy new year. He talked about how Pakistan needs to move forward in order to forge strong relationship with different countries across the world. Let's come to our last story, and that concerns polio. We all know that Pakistan was polio free for about 15 months, and then the cases started to come slowly and steadily. The polio case came in April, then more or less the cases started to increase, especially from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area. The government is adamant in order to eradicate polio from the country, and the United Nations, with which Pakistan is working to eradicate polio from our country, is also quite optimistic about the future of polio eradication from Pakistan. The UNICEF says that Pakistan might be polio free by the end of this year or by next year. Let's hope that. Minister for National Health Service and Regulations Abdul Qadir Patel has also said that eradication of polio from Pakistan is the government's priority. He was talking to polio workers. Now, the role of the polio workers, as you very well know, is also quite important, paramount. We've seen how they go from door to door under the current situation as well. Let's hope that 2023 brings a lot of happiness for people across Pakistan as far as eradication of our country from polio is also concerned. With that, we come to an end of today's Newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news story segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Have a great day ahead. Allah Hafiz.